hello, hello. I am so pleased to be here after a while. It's been, I don't know how long has it been, Eddie?
Since you were on?
Yeah, since May. Wow, okay. So I'm excited to introduce a fun, cool, new thing today that I learned from a good friend of mine, Shannon Jambard, who's the owner of Meant to Bead, which is a bead store up in Sun Prairie that has recently closed. And we used to refer all of our pearl tying projects up to her. However, she's not going to be doing that anymore. So she very kindly was willing to teach me some of her techniques. So I thought, what a fun thing to share with y'all. So I am going to be getting into it pretty quickly here because we've got lots of beads. And I do want to show you a couple different techniques. 2 different knotting styles and 3 different kind of weaving styles, and then how to start and finish. So, but in the meantime, Eddie, before I get into that, do you want to tell people, what am I supposed to say? This is Becky and this is Ed, and what do you say?
Oh, yeah.
What do I say? Hello, Ed? I don't know. Anyway, are you going to come and say
Sure, I'll say that. We're coming to you live from
there we
this
go.
historic downtown Stoughton. It's the Ed and Becky Show. My name is Ed. Say hi, Becky.
Hi, Becky.
Becky says hi. So today, if this is your first time, welcome. We're so grateful you joined us. If you've been with us before, you know how this works. But if you're new, you'll be seeing different lots of things displayed in front of the camera. And if you want to buy them, you just say sold, lot number 1 or lot number 2. If you want more than quantity 1, we'll assume everything is quantity 1, but if you need more than 1, just note quantity next to your comments. And at the end of the show, we send you a secure click and pay email via Square. And in order to do that, we need to know your email. So again, if you are brand new, you just need to send us your email at becky@diakonosdesigns.com. We do have a special today. 10% off if you purchase over 100. Very easy to do when Becky's selling beads and kits. Save 20% if you spend over $250. If you have a special discount with us, you can get the better of that or the show discount, but not both. And finally, if your order is over $50 net of discount, you will get free shipping. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Becky.
Cool. Thank you, Eddie Allen. Alrighty, so I'm going to start out and just show how to get started right here and do square knots to attach. And then we're going to move into a quick little how do you do the overhand knot and placement using an awl. And then I want to share real swift how we do the ladder weaving and then how we do finishing. So we are going to have in the show just 10 sets of this arrangement of beads that will include this size 6 silk. And I will have more silk and such on the show as well. As any of you know who have worked with Griffin cord, I love this. It has its own little wonky, wiggly attached needle, but getting it up and running and out of the package is half the battle. And once in a while it gets a little twisty, and I'm going to try real hard not to have that happen while we're doing this, because that's not fun. And when you're doing it without trying to make it show up on a screen, you'll probably have a little bit better luck. Move those out of the way. And we also have Big Eye needles available. This is my favorite little beading needle for all kinds of things. And as you can see, it's just splits right down the middle. And because I'm going to use this cording has 2 meters of silk. And again, this is size 6 and size matters. For these particular size 6 beads, I'm just going to do this off screen. For these particular size 6 Czech beads, size 6 silk is the right size for the whole size, which is approximately 1 millimeter. And 1 millimeter is about the size of 18 gauge wire. So a way to test your bead hole size is to get your chunk of 18 gauge wire, and then if the bead goes on it, that's probably going to be a good size for using size 6 silk. So, and oh boy, Becky. As with everything, this is not quite the exact way I wanted to do that. So what I really need in the middle isn't so much the needle as it is my little ring, duh, because I am going to be using the whole of the silk for the for this project. So, and 2 meters of silk will go about probably 24 total inches. All of these knots take up about the same amount. So what I'm really doing is positioning this little guy, my solid ring, and I always like to start with a solid ring, on the very, in the middle of the whole 2 meters worth of cord. So, so I've got a loop, and sometimes I'll go through twice just because. And the main point here is to just have your cording firmly attached. And so I like to do a simple overhand knot. Oh, sorry about that. And so I'm bringing this carefully off screen. Hi everybody who's logging in, appreciate you being here. And I get the knot super close up to the solid jump ring, solid because we don't want that silk to slip through, and then just do an overhand knot. So that's nice and secure. I think I'm going to go over to this side. So I'm going to attach, it's very handy to have something sturdy to pull against when you're doing this stitch, which is really just going to be a square knot, but it is helpful to have a, yes, where I'm placing that on the cord is basically halfway through. And as you play with this, you'll see there's a science. If you're not going to use the whole of the cording, you might prefer to work off the end without the needle so that you preserve as much length as possible attached to the needle, because you can use it for more projects. But in this case, I'm going to end up making this sample about as long as it goes, which will be, I'm hoping, well, I'm estimating around 24 inches. So I'm positioning the ring at the halfway point, basically. Then I'm stringing the end. So one end has this wonky little fun needle that's attached, and on the other end, I'm putting my big eye needle. So basically, I've got my cord attached at the middle to a solid jump ring, and then 2 1 meter long chunks of, sections of size 6 silk cord. So I'm going to first put a bead on, and I like to put the bead on the cord that has the big eye needle, because then I get the 2 cords through. They're all the way through, and then I'm going to put another cord through. Whereas if I had this one in and I tried to get the 2 through, it's a tighter fit. So always, I just use it as a practice. I always put my the big eye needle through first, and then you can just pull both sides till you get all the way up, and that is on screen still. Yes, yay. So now we're going to do a square knot, and I'm going to show you a square knot real quick with leather because I thought that would be easier to see. And here I've got blue leather on the right, brown leather on the left, just so you can see how this works. And we're going to take the right hand side over the left, and then go under and through and pull that cord to the left. In the second half of the square knot, I'm taking the left hand side over the right hand side, and from the bottom come through and tie the knot. So that those 2 knots complete the square knot. So you're always working, the moving cord is always the same cord. So in my case, I've got the big eye needle on the left when I'm going to be using the needle, and I've got the, so that's always the one, well, and actually the other one, I've got the other one on the right, the the self needle that it comes with is on the right, and that's the one that I'll be using first. And yes, I think somebody asked, is that carded silk? Yes, it is. It's Griffin's silk cord. That is yummy good. And if anybody has, you know, tips or ideas or things to say about anything that they know about any of this, just let me know, please. So now that there's a square knot, because it's awkward to show with this being so small. But here I'm taking the right side over the left, and it's coming through. I'm going to bring the whole thing through and pull it really tight. And then left over right, so the left-hand side is going over the right. I'm going to bring that up and under and pull it really tight. And the pulling will push all those beads right into place. And now I'm going to add another bead. And so you go through your beads always in this arrangement. We're always going through in the same direction. And pull it tight. Oops. And I used this 2 bead as an example because that hole is pretty big. And so one knot isn't going to be enough to hold a 2 bead. So I usually put another bead along with it. Because the knot it'll slip over the knot. And if you don't want that, you can put your 2 beads in the middle, or like I'm doing here, just put an extra bead below it. So there we go, pull it nice and snug. And now I'm going to go right cord over the left, under and through the middle space, pull it really good and tight. And now the left side over the right, and pull that really good and tight. And once you get going, this is just very meditative. I've quite enjoyed the process of playing and learning something new, because this isn't anything I knew how to do, and so it's kind of fun to try something and then, you know, kind of get into the flow of it. I'm just going to do one more and then I'll go on. So as you can see, these are lining up rather nicely, and right over left, and pull it nice and tight, left over right, up and through. I'm amazed I haven't tangled my cord yet. So that's how you do a chunk of just simple pearl netting. So, and you can, I mean, this technique is the same as you use with pearls. This is where it came from, is pearls. And so you can use this with anything. And like I say, size matters when it comes to the bead holes. You need to experiment. This cording comes in so many different sizes, and figuring out like a small hole pearl uses either like a size 3 or 4, so smaller than what we've got here. All right, here I want to show you this part, this technique, which is just really simply an overhand knot. So I've got my pearls, or not my pearls, actually these aren't pearls, these are yummy little Czech beads, but I've got them knotted per the example that I just showed. And then I'm starting with overhand knots. The overhand knot is going to be a more secure knot to secure the end of something. The square knot can get a little slippy, so I always finish, even though here I've got square knots going on, I'm putting an overhand knot here. And then I've used an awl to position a little bit of distance because I want to make it a little lighter and airier. And then I've got some beads, little space, beads, space. So here I just did an overhand knot. I've strung on some beads. And now I want to do another overhand knot. So overhand knot is super simple. And using the awl, which isn't a requirement, but I've kind of started using it and I find it to be pretty darn helpful. it helps to get the knots right up next to the bead where you really want them. I used to do this always by hand, and I think I've shared a technique before where we used a chunk of memory wire, which works very well as well. But this really does help you just get super close to the bead, pull it close, slip the awl out, and then pull your beads, and then, or pull your cord. And I like to pull each one separately because you get any extra stretch out of that. So then the next, you want to leave a little space. So I'm just going to do that overhand knot once again. And I don't get very fancy in figuring that out. I just look at that space. I see how big this space is, and, or, you know, I look at where I'm going, and then once I get my awl in there, I can kind of move it along and change where the knot is going to land. And that right there is looking pretty good to me. So just pull that down, pull the awl out, tighten the knot, and then continue on. So you can put additional, additional beads and continue with this sort of a pattern, just a little lighter weight. And yeah, it shows off the cording a little more as well. So that is the overhand knot. I want to show you now the little kind of ladder weave approach, which I think is kind of fun. So to make a, you know, simple little kind of ladder weavy floral bracelet, not sure quite what the right name for this is, I am going to need to restring my big eye needle over here, and you can see this is a piece of silk that I've been using for a while, so I don't have too much left, but I have plenty enough left to finish this up. So what I wanted to show is basically we're going to just look at that last knot. You've got the pattern going on, you've gone through right here, you've gone through right there, one bead from each direction, then you put a bead on each strand and singly, and then you go back through each bead, or back through one bead in opposite directions. And I'm going to show you one of those. So let's see. Got one bead on that strand. And I'm just being kind of random in terms of I've got a matte strand here and a shiny strand. So one bead on that strand, and then I'm going to go through this bead, left to right, and then right to left, and pull both of those. Try not to spill the beads. And then I've got another little segment. So, you know, I'm showing this with two different strands. You could use any number of strands that you want, or just one strand. This example uses one strand of 6mm or size 6 beads in the middle, and then some size 7 on the side. I love that little look. I wanted you to see the difference between when you have 7s on this, and when you're using 7s and 6s and 6s and just 6s. Just a slight different look. I am going to be on the lookout for more of those size 7 strands. Let me tell you, I am happy about those. Just that slight variation is very nice. Okey-dokey. So last but not least is how to finish. And I need to move my needle once again. So opening up that big eye needle like so, getting it through, and let's see. I like to, so I've already tested that this bracelet goes around 3 times the way I like it, and that, you know, like I made my spacing so that these guys these big beads would line up just how I wanted them to. And now I'm ready to do the finishing so that I have just a little bit of adjustability with an extender chain. I like to make these either with magnets, and that's fine if you're making something for you to wear and it's just the perfect size, but I often use a lobster and extender chain in order to make something that is a little more flexible.
Monica from Alaska, I wanted to know how you attach the lobster.
How you attach the lobster clasp, yes. So this little arrangement of beads, and what I'm doing here, basically, I started the whole thing with just that solid ring, because I don't want the, I don't have tools right here. I didn't want the cording to ever slip through. And here I've got I think it's a 6 mil solid, and then or an 8 mil solid probably, and then a 6 mil jump ring. So then I've just used the jump ring through the lobster claw and then attached it to the solid ring. And that gives me super security for the silk and the attachment I need for the lobster. Does that make sense? Hoping so.
Looks like a 6 mil.
Oh, okay, 6. Is that 6 and 4? Oh yeah, you're right. That's 6 and 4. Never mind.
We don't have any 8 mil.
Thanks, Eddie. We don't have 8 mil solid. Yeah, well, see, this is why I keep you around down here in the basement with me when I'm making up stories on TV. All right, so this end, the finishing end, I go through one direction with one of the cords and the other direction with the other cord. Is this critical? No. Is it the only way? No, but it's the way I do it, and you can do it however you like. The idea is just to get nicely, firmly attached, right? So that's all loosey-goosey. So now what I need to do is another one of those overhand knots. And so I'm holding, yes I am. I'm holding this. It's tight to the end. The solid ring is right up close to the beads, which I finished with an overhand knot as well. And I'm doing another overhand knot, making it look much harder than it is. Sorry about that. And this one you want to get up really nice and close. And like I said, you can use an awl, or with pieces like this, it's at this point, I don't feel like it's super necessary. I can get in there pretty darn close, and I'm just pulling that knot, nudging it before tightening it, getting up super close, right? So then holding the knot and then pulling the cords super tight. Alrighty? So if you could end there and just put a drop of glue on that, but my favorite thing is to always, use every little bit of string to do something good with it. Oh, and speaking of which, oh my goodness, have you guys ever heard of this new video? It's my obsession, called World on a String. It is so good. It is all about beads and why beads matter, and it will encourage you, I bet, as to why we are bead nerds of the highest order when we're playing with beads. Anyway, so I like to have a little dangle, so I put a little bit of something on both of these remaining cords. And I guess I could take my needle off now, because then I'm going to be less likely to poke myself. And I'm going to do a surgeon's knot here, which is just once over, simple overhand knot, and then again. And that you also want right up next to the bead. Oh, I see Pat watched the first one. Yeah, I was so impressed. I've gotten through the third one, and I'm learning so much about the history of beads. Oh shoot, I wasn't paying attention because I was chatting, and I pulled that way down here, so that's not good. So now we got to fix that. It's a little trickier than you might like it to be, because I have to jump that knot. But we're going to try to do it. Aren't we, Ed? Because we are girls, at least some of us are. We can do these things. Maybe. So the challenge, of course, is I don't want to get that knot caught up. And it might be that it's more fussy. Yeah, you know what? It probably is more fussy than I want to try to do right now because I want to keep moving on. I was hoping this would take 15 minutes. Anyway, I don't mean to babble on and on because we've got so many good beads to share. So anyway, the idea would be you simply make sure you get that knot right up nice and tight to the last little bead and put a little drop of glue. And then I usually keep a little dangle fringe. Oh, do I have a sample? I don't. Oh, I bet I do somewhere. You know, here would be a good example. So this is how it should look. Yes. And then I like to trim this about like so. And then that gets a little fray and it just looks super cute, I think. So anyway, that's how that goes together. So if you have questions, you can rewatch and or give us a call at the store. I'm happy to help with anything that might be useful in helping you figure out how to do some of this. Because it really is super good fun. Whole new, like I say, a whole new technique for me. And I bet many of you have probably been doing this sort of thing, pearl knotting, for a while. And if you have any tips, let me know. I will probably be doing another single knotting video at some point down the road because Shannon shared a lot of good fun tips that I'm very appreciative of. Alrighty, so we are going to get to, oh, here, lot one is going to be just that set of stuff. So this is what's included. It is $42 worth of goodies, but we are offering it for $38. And it will include all the goodies that you see here. And you get the closures, 2 different strands of beads, one size 6, one size 7. Enough material to make all of this, plus a little extra probably. Beads for sure. This used less than half the beads that are in what I'm supplying in this little kit. So you have plenty of beads to play with to make, you know, matching other good things should you want to. And so as we go along, the rest of our show will have more colors of natural silk, lots more strands of beads. In this case, if you like these beads, the size 6 will be, oh, I didn't put the lot number. It'll be coming up. These are the numbers. We are going to put these on the web, hopefully next week. And then if you want to order them there, you can do that. But this will include the little, the Czech rondelles, our fun little ovals with a little, I love that they have a, you know, a little bit of gold crustiness on them. And then, oh my goodness, this is my happy find. We'll have these later in the show too. But I'm adding a little packet of red beads because I just like these dark red beads and how they look with most of the colors of our strands. I will say the strands used to come with an occasional red bead more often. And red is a little more expensive, harder to make. The strands that we're getting now don't have a lot of red. So I found some red beads that absolutely work beautifully with these. And so those are included because I just think that little pop of red makes these strands come together wonderfully. So anyway, that is that. Lot number 1. And now we're off to beads. And so I will have, all these beads and some different kinds of silk cord down the way. I will also say that our silk is, some of it is arriving on Monday. So I have some, I don't have any gray, but I do have many of the other colors. So I have to put that there, get this out of the way. This is lot number 1. And these are size 6 Czech beads, $12. This is a wonderful mix of this is probably one of my, well, I've got way too many favorite strands, but this is definitely one of my favorite strands. So it has turquoise tubes, and I'm going to try to get as close as I possibly can and then be still. So turquoise tubes, that beautiful yellow that's just a gorgeous yellow. I often use these beads individually as little drops off of a metal finding for earrings and such. That has that deep red, deeper than the red that is in the little packet where it's only reds. And
Garnety red.
yeah, more of a garnety red. That's a good way to put it. And I wanted to show that a cool thing. Do you guys know what white heart beads are? White hearts are beads that have a white center. So this tiny one that I'm holding, you can see that the core of it is white. So the inside is white. Normally those are a much bigger bead. We carry them, we buy them from our African trader, Brima, and they are they come in this color. They come in red, orange, and green typically, and I haven't seen them this small. So they are just a sweet little uber special bead. It's probably part of why I love this strand. And anyway, so this is lot 2 for $12. Alrighty. Lot 3. Oh, this is another one. This is so cool. These are new, fun, very denim-y. If I can get my leg up here. Let's see. Ah, I can't. I was going to show you how good I go with denim. Yeah, that's me trying to be more flexible than I am. So, lot 3. Be still, Becky. And know that the beads are matte. And look at these yummy good beads. So there's actually 3 different colors in these, and every one of them is an absolutely beautiful color. Kind of an aqua, kind of a turquoise, kind of a dusty blue. They definitely have a denim-ish look. They coordinate well with other beads. You know, most of our beads play well with other beads. I'm so grateful that they're getting along so well. And just this matte finish is just very appealing. And these actually look a little squattier than our average beads. And that's kind of a nice thing too. I mean, you can work with that, the squattiness. The next one coming up is going to be the shiny version of this. So if you like the matte version, you might also like the shiny version. And with a number of our beads, we have the matte and the shinies. So here's the shinies. I'm going to show them right next. And that's lot 4. And same thing, since it's the underlying bead, there's an aqua and a blue, you know, and kind of a turquoise. And so there are 3 distinct different bead colors in the mix. And yeah, they are just absolute yummy good beads. All right, you doing okay down there, Eddie? Yeah. Alrighty. So there is no lot 5. I made boo-boo and had all of my lots written and figured out, and then realized I had skipped lot 5, so I did not want to go back and change it all up, so we're just going to go right to lot 6. And I think what I might do is do what I did with that last one, so you can see the matte and the shiny together. So the matte are $12, the shiny are $10, and these are also an just super lovely muted bead. Also, 3 colors are in here. Actually, there's 4. There's this very, like, a lighter sagey kind of green, a darker green, a dusty blue, and then kind of a grayish lavender. They're just a really, really unique bead. In fact, that's the one. So matte version is lot 6. The shiny version is lot 7. I'm going to find my little sample because this little sample that I did, I just thought these beads were so cool. So this little sample is made using those beads, some of each. Alrighty, I'm going to move on to lots 8 and 9. So, same thing here, the matte and the shiny version. And this lot 8 has this matte. The other one, it's a slightly different green than the other one. This matte green is just...
Those look like 2 complete different strands.
Which do? I know they do.
Oh, okay.
These two?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're just showcasing matte versus...
Yes. Yes, yes, I am. So, yeah, this green is just yummy. It's probably one of my favorite greens to wear. And then, you know, kind of the dark green turquoise mottled. That gold is a yummy good pop of yellow. It's beautiful yellow gold. And then the black Picasso. And to be honest, I'm not sure I would use these all together necessarily, but I would separate these out and use them like crazy because those colors are yummy good. We don't get a whole lot of black Picassos in this style of Czech bead, so I'm glad to see them because we don't get a ton of black. And honestly, those other colors, they're always kind of my go-to colors, the yellows and greens. So it's just a very pretty green. So lot 8 is the matte version, and lot 9 is the shiny version. And so, yeah, absolutely stunning. Yummy good. And this turquoise, that's a standard turquoise. I was checking, it's not a white heart. You don't really see the glow that we did in that first, I think in lot 2, kind of had that glow that you can tell when it's a white heart bead. So the, just that very nice green, turquoise, yellow, and black. And those are shinies for $10. Alrighty, so now I don't have the shinies for this, so we're just gonna do lot 10, which is some super good fun variety of beads, because that's it's all fun beads, right? So in this strand, wonderful light blue that has the kind of, it's almost like a khaki gold shine that is on like half the beads. These also have the white heart, the little turquoise that are white hearts. You can see there, that tiny hole. And the dark, these look brownish, these tubes. They're kind of a reddish brown, and there's some shiny that you see right up here, and then some that are matte. And then several different styles of stripe beads. And if you like using stripe beads, which I do, they just, you know, I don't know if y'all use those, you know, use a lot of these beads, but the stripes are just like, when you use them in a piece of jewelry individually, they just stand out because they're different, and they make a piece kind of look distinctive. So, well, not that lots of things without beautiful beads don't look distinctive, they kind of do, but anyway, these are just unique, and I'm pointing that out. So there you go, lot 10, and let's see, lot 11 is shiny beads. I do not have a matte version of these. I was just checking around in case I got distracted and forgot to match up my mattes and not mattes. So, lot 11. A beautiful, this is like a grayish lavender, and then a really like a gold covered, so I shouldn't say lavender, what do you call that darker blue? It is more lavender, but this purpley is got more of a kind of a coppery gold sheen to it right here, and then the yellows that are so good, and then the blacks. So also a wonderful mix of yummy good beads. $10 for lot 11 beads. And so far I think all of our beads have been opaque. This next batch has some that are translucent. So lot 12. Yeah, this is good. This is how these beads come to us, all tied up in a hank. And then we have to untie those itty bitty little strings and get them all sorted out. It's a load of meditative fun. And I hadn't gotten these all done yet, so that's why they're still tied in a big old chunk. So lot 12 is got a translucent bead. Can you see that amber bead right there? He is translucent. I'm wondering if I go like that, does that give us the ability to see through there a little bit? Oh, sure, yeah, if I do that. You see how those, that's obnoxious. But you can see that those amber beads are translucent, which is kind of nice, because sometimes translucent matters. So, yes, periwinkle. That's a better color name for that last one. I just couldn't come up with it. Thank you. I appreciate help from friends. Very much so. And then the other thing I wanted to mention about these beads, lot 12, is that this hole is about 1.5 millimeter. It is consistently large. Most of these beads are the normal Czech beads that are a little bit of variation. Some of them are going to fit on 1.5 mil leather and some of them will not. But these holes are, in all of them, fairly consistent. So if you have designs where you like stringing these beads on leather, this would be a very good choice because they will work well on heavier leather, you know, either a fat 1 mil or a thinner 1.5 mil. So here we go, on to lot 13. This is a cool, really cool matte texture. We had a strand similar to this that's on the web. We only have 2 strands left. And this, I think, might be the updated version of it. And so it is a little bit different. And so that's why I brought it back, because we have, it looked different enough that I wanted to have it, you know, be a separate item. So if you like green, oh my goodness, this has all the different greens. And as you can see, at least, I think, 4 different stripe styles. All of these are matte. The tube is more of a green turquoise, or almost a, it's not quite chartreuse, but it's almost chartreuse. Actually, I've got these beads that I called chartreuse, and they kind of go. It's not quite that bright. So yeah, it looks like, and then a green bead that is not stripes. So mostly it is almost a Christmassy green, which is interesting. You don't really get that in these style beads very often. And the green tube and stripes. Lots of different stripe styles, all in a matte bead. So these are $12 for lot 13. Alrighty, lot 14 has this is. So this is interesting. I think this is sort of the shiny and the matte version. They look different enough, and this doesn't have, there's an interesting bead over here that I'll show when I get there, but yeah, these coordinate rather nicely. And so lot 14, you probably know if you watch our shows, we don't get a lot of purple, but this has a nice, you know, a nice sense of purple to it. And also has several different translucent beads. The blue, this shiny blue here, is translucent, as are the amber beads. And then there's the lighter turquoise. These are all Picassoed, so the more blue turquoise. Do that. The more blue turquoise, and then that really pretty kind of, what's that color? That pinky color there. Mauve, maybe? I don't know. And that's a solid bead. So lots of fun ways to use these strands. These, yeah, you could just use them all together. All right, lot 15 is matte of all of these styles, but each of these beads is this interesting little, do you see how not all of them, but the blue beads that are in there, and then some of the green beads are a interesting little slanted shape, a little like a magatama kind of, but they don't have the bigger point that a magatama has. But boy, the pink beads in here are yummy. And then those irregular beads just give a fun bit of, you know, unique irregularity. This bead is an interesting little dark, and he's slightly translucent. So really fun, unique mix of interesting matte beads. All right, so the next two are going to be the size 7s that I've been so excited about, and the shiny and the matte version. So I'll give you that view so you see how they look from a distance. And
the bigger the number, the smaller the bead.
Yes.
For those that are new to beading.
Yep. So these are a smaller bead and a smaller hold bead. But the hole is still large enough to go over 2 strands of size 6 silk. Size 8 beads in the Czech family do not have a consistently sized hole big enough to go over size 6 silk. They can go over singly, but you can't get 2 strands through. But these are just yummy. Size 7s, and so many colors. This mix we've had in size 6 before, and we may still have on hand. I don't remember. I didn't check, but boy, so many different colors in here. The turquoise, the dark red, the kind of an orange, you know, kind of a pumpkin-y orange right there. The yellows, and then the stripes. So many options. And yeah, I am hoping that we'll be able to get our supplier to come with some more size 7 beads, because I just feel like there's so many interesting ways that they can be used, and just the variation. Even if you're just making something simple and straight up like a memory wire bracelet, you know, with size 6s, having these mixed in just gives a unique bit of texture and fun and variation. So lot 17 is the matte version. So the shinies were $8 and the matte are $10. And you can see there's all those same colors. The matte red here is just yummy good. I don't know if there's some that are showing up good, but yeah, the yellows, I mean, all of it is good. And I love these little beads that are half yellow, half blue. they just work up kind of fun in lots of different designs. So lots of pretty variation in these and options. These are the beads that I used in this. So these size 7s were these matte size 7s right here. Oh, looks like Eddie's paying good attention, and well, at least to the comments, which is what he should do. And somebody asked about the rainbow Ashanti beads from 2 shows ago. These are they. So if you should be interested, you could say lot 31 Ashanti. Make sure you say that. They are the Ashanti, so they don't get mixed up with whatever my lot 31 is, which is, I think, some different Czech bead. So anyway, if somebody would like those, lot 31 multicolored Ashanti beads. Alrighty, so lot 18 is going to be those red beads. I'm going to leave these on for now for just a second. 17 and 16, and those red beads are these right here. My happy new, I'm so glad I found them to mix with all the other beads. So they're a size 6. We just bought them in a, like, I don't know, a couple kilos, I suppose. And so they're not stranded. And so we're just selling them in the 70 count packs. And if you, like me, enjoy a little pop of that nice red in your designs, it's a good bead for just that. That goes well with a lot of these other beads. Alrighty, I'm gonna get our next things on. 19 and 20. So 19 is the strand that I'm looking at these and I'm wondering, I don't think this is necessarily the matte version. In fact, I'm sure it's not. So I'm not gonna, we won't talk about that one quite yet. But 19, this is the strand that was in that example that I showed at the beginning. So this is the size 6 strand that I was using in that sample. And this also has oh so many yummy good qualities. And the tube bead is kind of a black blue. There is two different blue beads, which is interesting. So there's the blue right here above my finger, and then, or above my thumb, and then the more of a kind of a tealy blue. So it definitely has a blue presentation, I guess. And then of course the gold beads that are so good. Couple different styles of stripe beads. These are size 6. And they are not white hearts, but they are yummy good beads. Oh, and then kind of a brown. I guess I didn't even notice that. So, beautiful good. What beads aren't beautiful and good? And honestly, if you watch that bead on a world on a string, oh my goodness, you will appreciate every blessed bead that we get so much. I've always appreciated and loved all the beads, or almost all the beads, I suppose. But this just makes me appreciate every single one of them all the more. It's just amazing. And the video, and it's, I think I posted it earlier today on our page, so you could get it there. It talks about the history of so many kinds of beads, how they're made. It's just fascinating. Anyway, this is a wonderful matte strand, and turquoise, blue, the kind of that very, very, very dark red mottled. And then these are white hearts that are matte, which, oh my goodness, that you just don't hardly ever see. That, like, you know, again, being a bead nerd, that bead right there just gets me, that one. And it's just a beautiful, beautiful strand. Lots of color that works together or separately. Alrighty, we're going to move on to some of the little accent beads that are Czech, that I was using in those samples. And our Czech girl is going to be coming in September, so we can, if we have interest in people like Czech beads of this style, we can get lots more. And I'm kind of debating, do I want to start to do some more kits, you know, with these designs, or with these styles of beads. Anyway, these are all 5 by 3 millimeter rondelles, and this golden yellow one is an example of how that works up size-wise with the size 6s. So these, and I don't have a ton of these because our girl is coming in September, so we're a little low, but because I was using them, I thought, well, I should share and get a feel for what people are interested in. So I see somebody mentioned Monica, yes, that you love Czech rondelles. So these are turquoise with a beautiful, you know, darker mottled green Picasso that are yummy good. And I'd love to know, like, we have this size is the one I guess I end up buying and using most, but I'm curious as to what people do with the larger sizes and the smaller sizes. We have some of the smaller sizes, and the smaller doesn't fit on the size 6 silk, but of course it'll fit on plenty of other things. So anyway, again, I'm just kind of experimenting. So if you have thoughts or pictures that you could share with us, I would love, love, love to see what you guys do with some of these beads. In fact, you know, part of the reason we haven't had a ton of Czech beads, so now lot 22 are this crystal AB, super fun. Just a lot of sparkle in these. They are really, they've got a silver finish and an AB finish, and they're $6. I think I mentioned with Shannon's store closing in April, and then we have another bead store about 30 miles away that is also in the process of closing, and both of them carry a ton of Czech. So I haven't carried a lot of Czech because we have other stores nearby that had a really big selection. So it's something that I'm trying to figure out, like, where do we want to go with that, and how much do we want to bring on in additional kinds of beads. So I'd love to hear your thoughts and see your pictures if you are willing to share. So lot 22 are the crystal AB. Lot 23 are these matte gray. Oh my goodness, so cool. This is what I had in one of the samples. I want to show how it works up because I think it's pretty. So that little bead, you see it right there, right there. Just adds, you know, a fun pop of shape and texture. And these are kind of like half, I don't know, half matte, little, they're not etched, but there's yeah, they're not fully matte, but partial matte, and which just makes them kind of fun, you know, in the way that Czech beads like these typically are. A little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of just something unusual. So alrighty, so that's lot 23. Lot 24 is this fun color. And we have 6 of those. Beautiful pop of that chartreuse, if you like it, which I tend to. I like this, and then that gold, which I think is got a few strands of those coming up. Yeah, this is a beautiful color and pops in nicely with many of these beads. You know, look how fun that would be. Anyway, I could go off and be a bead nerd like nobody's business, but I'm going to try to stay focused. Okay, lot 24. Lot 25. Some pretty, this is a beautiful kind of rose color, and with a, it's kind of a coppery tinge that's just yummy good. And I need to come up with adjectives besides yummy good. I don't know why it's always food adjectives that are, you know, analogies that get me going with some of these beads. But
Rare steak.
what's that?
Rare steak.
Rare steak. You think this looks like rare steak?
I don't know.
Anyway, I would call them a transparent rose with a copper tinge. They're just a lovely pink. Not a big pink girl, but I would use this pink all day long. I put it in pink family. These are just fun and different. If you are kind of a neutral nerd like me, but a little teeny little bit of bling, oh my goodness, do you see the little bit of bling that these guys deliver? So it's a very kind of beigey taupe, half, you know, half and half bead. And, well, not really. I shouldn't say that. They're not. There are others that are kind of that half and half. The top is one and the bottom is another. These just have that sparkle iridescence that lets it be neutral and understated, but just have a little bit of sparkle. Kind of reminds me of how, like, labradorite has Labrador essence that's just kind of cool and subtle. Anyway, kind of gives you that. It's not like Labrador essence in its look, but in its weird little bit of subtlety. All right, so lot 27 is these yummy turquoise. These would go with a lot of our Czech beads as well. Oh, how about if I put them on the screen? That'll make them easier to see. Yummy, 2 different kinds of turquoise. One's a little more aqua, lighter, not aqua. They're really more of a green, lighter green, and like a more blue green. And all of these are Picasso. Whoop. Sorry for wiggling. And these are only $5. All right, lot 28 is, these are the half and half beads I was talking about, where, like, you know, like part of them is solid and part of them is translucent. So there's an opaqueness on some and then translucence. And they're just a beautiful, beautiful blue with a bit of, well, again, the Picassoing that they all have. Faceted rondelles, 5 by 3 millimeter. They go with all kinds of good stuff. And lot 29. Got just a few of these. They're kind of that, I think people call it Coke bottle green, but it's really like a 7-Up bottle, isn't it? I've heard people call it Coke bottle green, but anyway, it's kind of that green. Like, it goes well with sea glass. It's just a very pretty, transparent green with hair.
Shirley's reminding me to stay on camera.
Oh, thanks, Shirley. I'll try to stay on camera. Yeah, Shirley's part of our QA team. I jokingly call it when a customer finds a problem. I not jokingly, quite sincerely call it that, because, golly, you know, some things just happen. So this is a fun fact for those of you who are bead nerds. So Mayuki's Magatamas that are turquoise, which are some of our favorites, we started, well, Shirley ran into, Becky, get her down. Shirley ran into trouble when she was trying to teach a class of 17 students, all by herself. And they were making binary bracelets, and they ran into trouble with the turquoise color and couldn't get enough of the beads to work. So they told me about it, and I've dug into it, and we've gotten word from Mayuki, the manufacturer, that yes, indeed, this last batch of beads has been manufactured with a smaller hole. They didn't realize it until they went and tested it themselves, and they're going to try to make the next batch larger, but it's going to be a while, because when they do batches of beads, like this is, you know, the maker of them, you know, probably makes, I don't know how many kilos worth, and, you know, then that's good for a long time. So we're going to have to take that one off of our kit racks because it doesn't work. But we'll find something else to do with the beads because they're beautiful. They just aren't going to work for stringing on 1 mil Genya. Anyway, all right, cobalt blue beads. These are yummy good. And actually we don't have a ton of strands that have this color, but this works as a really fun accent color, I think. You know, similar to like in this mix. Couldn't you see that blue being the accent? Like here I was putting in that mustardy yellow, but why not make that this yummy good blue? Because he, I think, pops in there beautifully. So, yeah, little 5x3 faceted rondelles. Lot 30. 31. I only have 4 of these. And they are that mustard color that I did use in this example. And I feel like they coordinate well with a lot of these different beads. Of the longer Czech strands, the size 6s. It provides, it's just a nice pop of fresh color. So there we go, lot 31. Lot 32 is, I was having a hard time with, oh my goodness, it's so funny, coming up with ways to describe color. I called it terracotta amber because I was doing this in the dark. And then if I really don't think, I mean, I'll take these upstairs and look at them there. They have a gold tinge, you know, a gold flash finish. And it's just a really unique color that really will go beautifully with a lot of these beads and any other beads that you might have as well. So lot 32 are these pretty little beads. Alrighty, so I've got 3 lots of the oval beads. And the reason I've got the 5x3s and then these 12x8 ovals is the hole size. Many of the Czech beads we have, the holes are too small to go through to be used with size 6 silk with the double tying knot technique. But these work beautifully. So they're the ones I picked to have on the show. I love these beads. They have a wonderful crusty gold finish. You know, they're underneath a blue, green, brown mottled bead, and but that gold flecking and is just yummy.
Like a poor man's Roman glass.
Yeah. Yeah, they are just, I really like this bead. Again, one of those kind of subtle, understated beads. So, lot 33. All right, not so subtle or understated is this one, Hello. If you like a hello bead, which...
Oh, lot 32 still,
yeah, there is only 3 of those. All right, oop, did I? Oh, no, I did. Never mind. So, lot 34. Is these, which have, oh my goodness, all the colors. It's just iridescent to the max. Could use them together or individually. Just a very striking bead. A lot of pink, a lot of gold. Oh, it looks like pink yellow, and then it's more of a silver undertone than a gold. So actually, I think it would work up fine with whatever metal color. You could use silver or gold with this because of the way that the iridescence works. Just yummy. All right, 35, and we are coming down the home stretch. These are fun. They are matte black with black. How about gold? How about those all? Oh, I make this so hard some days. All right, so 35 is matte black. And they feel matte, which I think is cool. They feel like they're painted, but of course they're not. And with gold flecks, I really, really, really like these beads. I think used individually or whatever. I just could see a bracelet made with that. If you are a black and white girl, these are yummy. Or if you're anybody who likes black and gold, because there you go. Alrighty, so that's lot 35. And now we're going to show a little bit of beading cord. So let's see what's a good way to do this.
8 slots left of beading cord.
Yep, and then we're done. So this is, well, here, how about if I just take that off? I'm trying to keep everything straight is half my challenge in life. So lot 36 is beige beading cord. Lot 37 is light. Nope. Lot 37 is brown. Let's just do that. That'll be more better. And there we go. 36, 37, beige, light brown, not light brown, regular brown, just brown, which is a good neutral color, and blue, which this is regular blue. There is such a thing as light blue, and or dark blue. I'm sorry, there's a dark blue. So this looks lighter, but it is just blue. If you are familiar with Griffin's cord coloring lingo, black is 39, and white is 40. And then, so some of these, the black, the white, well, all of these, I have more coming. It should have been here by today, but it's now going to be here by Monday. So if you do get some of these silks and we don't have them, then we will ship for you on Monday. Hopefully everything will arrive. And then actually, let me do this. Let me see if I can make this as confusing as possible. And then lot 41 is gray. And you see there's none of that because I chose that for my sample and then didn't realize we had none. But this is what that looks like. It's a very pretty color. And so if you order gray, for sure your package will ship out next week. So I think I saw, yeah, what was the question? It's off the screen for me now.
Give me a second. It keeps rolling off as people order. Do you prefer Griffin nylon or Griffin silk cord? Which is easier to knot? Which is stronger?
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful questions.
Oh, it's there.
Yeah, I would love anybody else's thoughts or opinions on this too. So I like both of them. I've used them very interchangeably at this point. And they're all kind of new to me. I've been using them for just only maybe 2-3 years. And what I have found is I think that they're both very, very strong. I haven't had any of them break or unravel or anything like that. I think that there's a little more stretch and give to pieces that are made with the silk. I think silk just has more give to it. So, or maybe the knots tighten a little bit more. So if you make something with silk, or nylon for that matter, either one, because those knots will tighten over time. And then if your piece was made, like if it's a triple wrap bracelet, made to be just an exact fit, and it starts to stretch a little over time because the knots tighten, then it's nice to have made it with a little bit of extender chain so that you can shorten it up a little bit rather than making it the exact length. So I always keep that in mind when I'm doing anything with knots, because knots will tighten over time. So I make the pieces a little shorter. If it's going to be a bracelet necklace, it really doesn't matter, because I don't think a centimeter or 2 on a necklace length is going to be a big problem. And I would say that it might be that the silk knots are a little harder to undo if you need to. And ever so often I've had to undo a knot. So that's a thing, but there, an awl helps you get that done. And I'm going to show the last 2 things that we've got. So if you need a big eye needle, those are $42. Yay! No, lot 42 is a big eye needle. So lot 42 would be the needle. That is super handy. If you're going to use, all these silks come with 1 needle already attached to the end of 2 meters of cord. But if you're going to do the 2-sided technique, you do need an extra needle. And it doesn't have to be this style. You might have needles already that are fine to use it. This is just the one that we like to use here at the shop. And then if you need an awl, we've got a few of those. We do have more coming. And it is just a handy dandy awl tool. That is useful if you're going to make those overhand knots. You don't really need it for the square knots technique, but you do need it for making overhand knots. And then just a plug, because if y'all are like me and you like to go to art shows, this is my fancy awl made by an artist up in Door County. Isn't that just yummy good? And this comes out. So you might find these at art shows near you. So if you see a woodworker, check it out. So yay, now that's not sharp and pointy, right? And then the other side is a seam ripper. Isn't that handy? For those of us who sew. But I like the pointy little awl side, as well as for getting knots undone or detangling chain. So I don't have those for sale, but I just thought I'd mention it in case you go to art shows and you see people doing wood stuff. That's a cool thing, a very useful thing to get. So, alrighty, I think that's all that I know that's all that I've got today. Thoughts, questions, anything that came up on the feed, Eddie, that I can talk to?
No, I'm still catching up. I think I caught up. Just a reminder, there's a couple new folks out there that I've sent messages to. I think it's both a Marcia and a Marcia. If you're send us your email before not too long, because that's I didn't find one on file for either of you, so just send it to us at becky@diakonosdesigns.com, which is on the card here. And again, we will be sending out these invoices this afternoon. And again, if you spent over 100, you'll get a discount. Over 250, you'll get more. I think some of you got to that second level. Great job. We will be meeting again in 13 days. Thursday night, September 5th. We're going to do something called Orphan Kits. And what that just means is we slowly retire families, as much as we hate to. After a while, we slowly retire families of kits. And in so doing, there's maybe 3 of one left, 2 of one left, 1 of one left. And we call those orphans. And we will be selling those off at least 30% off, and maybe more, but at least 30% off. And possibly the samples for them as well at a great value. And that'll be September 5th. And then more destashing fun of components 2 weeks after that on the 19th. So I'll turn it back over to Becky.
All right. Well, that's all I've got. I thank you all. Thank you so much for just being part of our fun, being bead nerds and playing with beads all of the time. And appreciate your input and your thoughts. And if you have ideas or things that you can share, just send us. You can post it on our Facebook page or send it to us in email or text me, whatever. Anyway, bless you, thank you, and have a great rest of August. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye now.